What's up, everybody? It is good to be home. I'm your host, Jimmy Grappone, along with the co-host, Michael Curtis. What's going on, Michael?
Hey, I'm just enjoying myself, warming myself up by the fire right now. I'm loving the spot you've taken me to.
Yeah, so
it's very homey.
It is very homey. So this is the start of a new show. It's good to be home with Jimmy Grappone and Michael Curtis. So let's introduce ourselves. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, I am excited about this new chapter with you, Jimmy. I'm Michael Curtis with Movement Bank. I am a mortgage broker.
Yeah, and I'm Jimmy Grappone. I'm a North and South Carolina licensed realtor with JPAR Carolina Living Real Estate. I work primarily in the residential area, so helping people buy and sell real estate. So I get a lot of people that I work with who are on the buying side, who are either first-time home buyers or who are relocating here from other parts of the country. Charlotte's always been a desirable place. It seems like in the past couple of years, since the start of the pandemic, and then people started working more from home and seeing some different alternative ways of living, or they have started moving here from other places. They're like, why am I stuck in the city? I can,
Unbelievable. I mean, you think about hot spots in America: Nashville, Austin, Charlotte. Charlotte is absolutely in that list. Raleigh is another big one. And you and I, we've both been in the Charlotte area going on. I don't want to age us now.
I've been here since 2008 is my first
there you go. Just throw it down. I think it's actually the same for me. It's early 2000s is when I arrived. It's a little more foggy for me, a little more blurry.
I first moved here in 2006. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. And I moved out to California for a year in 2005. Had some friends from college out there in the Bay Area. And then decided, I was like, you know what, I think I'm more of an East Coast guy. Had a good time out there, but I'm an East Coast guy, but I didn't want to come back to Richmond with my tail tucked between my legs. So I had a friend, a good friend of mine, who actually ended up being my best man in my wedding, and he still lives here in South Charlotte too. He and his family.
Very cool.
But he had family originally from Charlotte, and we were roommates in Richmond, and then I ended up moving back here, and we became roommates. That was in 2006. I went back to Virginia for about a year and a half, and then came back to Charlotte. I've been here ever since.
That's amazing.
2008. Met my wife in 2011, so at that point,
that's it. The rest is history. Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you. I won't call it the ball and chain, right?
Right.
But you're definitely locked in. There's more commitment. We'll call it commitment.
Oh yeah.
Not that I'm complaining about it either. I'm also happily married from my wife here in the Charlotte area. And it's just amazing to see the growth. We've both been here for decades now, and it's just unreal.
Do you remember the cranes? Like when you first got here off the city, there was almost as many cranes as there were buildings.
Yeah.
I remember they were building the View. Remember the View condos, which I think they were condos, and then did they turn into apartments, and now they're back to condos again?
I'll leave it to the real estate expert to
know. So there are condos in there, but I remember back then, and this is before I was in real estate, but they were building a lot of these condos, and then you had the bubble, the real estate bubble, and then all of a sudden, all these condos that had been sold, people weren't moving into them, and they ended up converting a lot of them into apartments. So
it's crazy times. And now we look at across the border in South Carolina. I live close to Waxhaw on the South Carolina side.
As do I.
And it's just unreal to see the development coming down through there as well. So much opportunity.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, speaking of development and everything, that's going to be our primary topic for today's episode. Is new construction. So there's a few things we want to talk about. One, we want to talk about just the new construction that's going on in the area, not like specific developments, but the overall, I guess, health of the new construction business here in Charlotte. Another topic we want to talk about is, what's the process? What's the difference between the process? What's the difference between buying a resale home versus a new home, and what to expect? And then, do you really need a realtor or a lender if you're buying new construction?
I've been asked that.
Yeah,
it's true.
I get.
Let's figure it out.
Happens. All right.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it. Well, let's start off first. Let's talk about Charlotte area new construction health and growth, because I know you're sponsoring an event coming up, like a new construction summit. So
absolutely,
you got all the stats.
We got all the stats. It's something I've been thinking about. We've been preparing for this event. It's at the Sonesta in Charlotte, which is right off of Tyvola Road. If you're watching this and you're familiar with the Charlotte area, it's right there by Costco.
Yep.
And so we have over 15 builders. It's a builders expo. So we have over 15 builders that are going to be there. I think at least 200 plus real estate professionals are going to be attending, RSVP'd for it. And we're just going to be getting as many people in the real estate space together talking to each other.
Yeah.
Because what we find in this rapid growth stage that we're in, it's so important to get the professionals together to be able to see what is actually happening.
Well, that's one thing that I'll just interject real quick and let you go back. As a real estate professional, is when things are changing like that, getting together with other professionals. People think that we're all competitors, but really, we want to work together.
Yeah.
I don't care what firm another agent is with. I want we work together to make sure that transaction happens. But we need to stay educated and educate each other.
It's about collaboration, not competing.
Exactly.
I feel the same thing about other lenders. I want everybody winning together, because when we are able to do that, then the person buying the house or selling the house can win too.
Yeah.
And we can all win together. So absolutely, for me, it's about collaboration. And so for us, as many people we can get on the same page as possible, we're doing that. Some important stats about our area. So we're looking at over 150 builders in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area.
So let me stop you right there. So you say Charlotte-Mecklenburg area, and I've seen different definitions. So there's Greater Charlotte. There's one definition that says it's the counties that touch Mecklenburg.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that has like 16 counties.
Right.
So what area are you talking about?
So to specify, it is the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. So not the surrounding area around it, not Gaston, not Cabarrus, not Union, but just the Charlotte-Mecklenburg
So Mecklenburg
area.
County, like specifically within Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Okay.
That's right.
And there's how many builders in Mecklenburg County?
There is over 150 builders. With
different companies.
With different companies, set up small, big, medium size, in the Charlotte area that are operating, that are active, that are building, planning on building in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area, in the Mecklenburg County. I'm sure it's even more when you add in the surrounding areas as well. Of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area, Mecklenburg County, there are over 400 communities either in development right now or in the process of about to start. It's happening within the next 12 months.
So do you know, are there certain areas of Mecklenburg County that are underdeveloped? Because I think of, living on the south part of Charlotte, I think of South Charlotte, and I'm like, where is there land for that? Because we see a lot of new construction down in Union County. We see a lot of it coming down our way down Indian Land, Lancaster, and going into South Carolina. But especially, coming south, coming down Providence Road, you got Myers Park, Dilworth, all those communities up there. Those are developed already, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you see a lot of pockets, like you see homes that are tear downs and then build back up. But yeah, talk about where are they building?
Yeah, it's hard to when you think about timeline. So think about Ballantyne.
Yeah.
Ballantyne 20 years ago was really nothing. There was nothing there. I was talking to a builder where he built those houses right on the border of Providence Road West before you hit the border with South Carolina. And he was the building manager for that entire community. And so you think about, well, gosh, it's already developed. Well, that doesn't happen by itself. And so you think about Steel Creek. Steel Creek, that's even newer, right?
Steel Creek
last
has
10 years. It's just changed dramatically. If you've not been down there the last few years, take a drive down there.
Yeah.
Take a look. It's unreal. My wife used to work at the Best Buy over there. Speaking of Best Buy, before we started recording.
Rivergate, right?
Rivergate, the Rivergate. Center. And so
that was one of the first places I lived in.
Yeah.
In Charlotte.
It's just it's unreal. And so I think what's happening is now we're seeing a shift west. And so you think about like that whole corridor around the airport. So there's a lot of development on that side. The surrounding area, you think about Gaston County, going further west, Belmont. That's another area that's developing. And then you go north. You think about north as well, and University City. If you want to kind of twirl back around as well, it's everywhere. It's everywhere where you're seeing this new construction.
Yeah, I think even I've noticed some even on the east side. If you're going around 45 on a clock, like between 1 and 3, kind of between, or 2 and 4, between say Matthews and Mint Hill.
Yeah.
Over in that area, and then you get out towards Harrisburg.
Yeah.
Which is a growing area as well.
Well, you think about how 2008 happened, right? So we had the financial crisis. Real estate took a big nosedive, and builders they immediately stopped building, and so there's this big cliff. It came down, and they really haven't ever caught up since. And so then we had the pandemic happen. That was our next kind of, I guess, volatile period. Of course, speckle and other moments between 2008 and now, and now you're at a point where. Pick your poison, right? We've got supply chain issues. We've got, the pandemic we just experienced. Geopolitical things happening, crises happening in Europe, right? So now we've got so much happening. Builders, there's such a massive need for homes. You hear the word inventory. If you're not familiar with that, that means homes on the market to be bought, resales. So new construction builders are rapidly trying to build houses right now to meet those needs.
Yeah, so there's still more demand than there is supply out there. So let's talk a little bit about the new construction process, versus doing a resale. So from lender's perspective, what's the biggest difference?
Yeah, so on my side, there's really on my side it's. You want to get pre-approved, right? You want to get the financial picture first. And so that's whether you're going resale or if you're going to go with a new construction.
Oh, yeah.
Now, focusing on once the pre-approval is done, that's that initial conversation. You get your financial vital signs looked at. Now we can really start honing into what the numbers look like. And with that knowledge, because knowledge is power, right? Now we can take it to the next level and start applying that into a home, whether that's a resale or new construction. Reason why we're talking about new construction is that the few and far between resales are meeting needs right now, whether it's not in the right location, there's a specific school system that the kids need to be in, work as well might play a factor in it. And so new construction is starting to fill that appetite for a lot of people, size-wise, whatever it might be. And so new construction, the timeline is just going to feel different, right? So process-wise, once you're pre-approved, in most cases with new construction, you're not going to close until the home is completed.
Right.
And that could be 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I want to come back to this. Let's take a brief break for a little sponsorship moment, and then we'll be back in just a minute. It's Good to Be Home is brought to you by Jimmy Grappone, Realtor at J. Park, Carolina Living Real Estate. I am a local realtor licensed in North and South Carolina, serving homeowners and home sellers throughout the Charlotte region in both states.
My name is Michael Curtis with Movement Bank, and I'm a mortgage broker serving everyone across the United States. Happy to help people with their first home purchase, their 10th home purchase, investment properties, vacation homes, you name it. I've got a program for you.
And finally, supported by the CLT Life. You can find all our content on youtube.com/the CLT Life, as well as the CLTlife.com. And we've got fabulous merchandise. If you're watching, you can see our logo. We've got great stuff that inspired by the city of Charlotte, our local sports teams, and just all over. So check out the CLT Life. Get some cool gear there as well. Thanks for watching and listening to this show. And let's get back to the show. All right, and we're back.
Hey.
So we were just talking about the timelines for buying new construction versus resale. So when a home is for sale, it's a resale. It's already lived in, a used home, let's call it.
Yeah.
As a buyer, you can put your offer in, you negotiate, and you usually close them within about 30 to 45 days.
Yeah.
Now with new construction, there's 3 different types of new construction, and especially and I'm talking about with production builders. When you walk into a neighborhood, you can buy a home that right now it's just dirt. It's just dirt on the ground, and they haven't started. So that's you're building from scratch right there. You can purchase a spec house, one that is.
Tell me more about that.
Started.
What does spec house mean?
They're building it on the speculation that they're going to sell it. So at this point, so when you go in, let's say you're buying one first and you're buying it from scratch, right?
Yeah.
You pick out your lot, and there might be a couple of different model homes that you can choose from, or based on what model you want to build, you might pick out your lot.
Yeah.
And then lots of times you can pick out your elevation, meaning what the front of the home is going to look like, the colors and the stone and all that stuff. And then lots of times too, you can pick out what the inside is going to be like. You can pick out the color of your cabinets. You can pick out your countertops. You can pick out the type of flooring. You might have a flex room, and you can say, yeah, I want that to be a dining room, or I want it to be an office or a bedroom. So, and it varies based on the builders. There's some builders, and we're talking production builders. Like you go to a Lennar, and their motto is everything's included.
Yeah.
You're on site in their model home, and they usually have like the fourth bedroom, and they've got some cabinet selections and things like that. That's about all you can pick out. You buy a D.R. Horton house, and they're going to send you to their design center in Charlotte, and you're going to go through every room and pick out everything and
fully customizable.
Yeah, you might end up like adding bump outs and doing all kinds of stuff there. So if you buy at the very beginning, you have more input into the process. And then if you're further along, if they've already started construction, they already have everything picked out pretty much. So even if they're just framing it out, everything is pretty much picked out. And then the last stage, and you might come in, they might be a month or two into the process, they might be further along. And if you get in at that really the beginning part that I just talked about, you might go under contract, and then they have to pull permits. They might not even start doing anything for 30 to 60 days. So you can be on that 6 to 8 month time frame.
Longer timeline.
Building the house doesn't take that long. It's all the inspections and the prep and all that.
Yeah, you got to consider that when you think of your timeline as well, of when you need a home. If it works with the timeline, absolutely. I know from my side with the lending, once you're under contract with a new construction home, you're going to have activity for this first 30, 45 days. With the lender, we're going to be completing all house-specific items. You get an appraisal on a dirt patch. And so the appraiser goes out there and takes a picture of it. But what he or she's really doing is they're going through all of your selections. So after your showroom selections or whatever that specific builder allows for, they're going to go through and they do what's called a sales cost approach appraisal. They're going to make sure, okay, mahogany cabinets is going to be in this home. They've got the gold ornate faucets. Right. And then at the end of the process, because then there's going to be a lull when the house is actually built, that last 30 to 45 days, then the appraiser, that same person, goes back to the house again and says, let's make sure it's not plywood and is mahogany cabinets. Make sure that it wasn't nickel, it is actually gold faucets that are put in this house. And they'll do a final inspection at the end as well to complete it. So usually the first 30 to 45 days, a lot of activity with the lender, then it'll be really quiet, and then at the end when we hear that the CO, that certificate of occupancy, is about to come out, now you're going to see that final 30 to 45 days, they're going to be kind of wrapping up, putting the ball on it.
So that's when someone comes in and gets to pick their lot, pick the model of their home, all the selections and all that stuff. The third option that I was going to mention too is an already built new construction home. So sometimes you have those, and what I used to always tell people, and I think we're starting to come back to this a little bit more, is that those are the ones that you can negotiate the most on. So if you're going in and there's just dirt, the builder might be offering some incentives, but there's usually, it depends on the market, but there's usually not a lot of negotiation room. If it's a spec home and it's already built, then sometimes the negotiations you can make are going to be, hey, can you throw in some blinds or a fridge or something, stuff like that. I've had success doing that. And then if it's already built, now that home's sitting there, they got to sell it. You might be able to say, hey, I want to offer you, you're asking this, let me offer you that, and be able to negotiate on price a little bit. But it also depends, and this goes back to the appraisals, what stage they're in the community itself. So builders typically don't want to start slashing prices. If they still have a whole lot of houses to be built, right?
That's right.
They don't want to lower the appraisal value for future ones.
Exactly right. These are all things to think about. And I think that segues us into Another important question.
Yeah. You're going to ask, do you need a realtor and a lender?
Do you?
Because
as a builder, the builder's going to build your house.
As a salesperson. Well, yeah. If you're out on a Saturday or Sunday and you're riding along and you go to a new construction neighborhood, there's a salesperson that's in there. They're a licensed realtor in most cases. There to help you out. But essentially, they work for the builder. So it's essentially like if you went to an open house and the listing agent is sitting there in that open house. Do you want that listing agent to represent you to purchase that home, or not even represent you, to work with you, and you're representing yourself essentially?
Yeah, the interests of that individual, that sales representative, is the interests of the builder. They represent the builder, and that's not saying that they're being malicious. It's just their priorities are for the builder. So we need a professional that's going to prioritize the buyer.
Exactly, and they want the in-house salesperson. They want the buyer to have a good experience.
Absolutely,
right? They want you to have a good experience and be proud, have pride in your house, and get what you want. So they are going to work with you from that perspective. But as far as negotiating and things like that, they're not pushing. They're not pushing for you. They're not advising you why you need a third party to come in and inspect the home. Even though it's new construction, people think, it's a brand new house. I don't need to inspect it. But
so important.
Brand new.
Get a pre-drywall inspection. Post-drywall.
I'm big on both of those.
You want to make sure that everything is being put in that home the right way.
Well, and you have a great opportunity as well if you get into a home before the drywall has gone up. It's a great opportunity to see behind the walls. You can ensure that everything is installed properly. I've seen houses where you have bowed, like the 2x4s are bowed, and it could be as simple as sistering a couple of boards on either side to make sure everything is straight. But when you can do that stuff before the drywall is up and hiding that, that can save you a lot of headaches later on. Because once the drywall is up, it's hidden.
Yeah, exactly right, for sure. I think it's important when you think about it from a lender standpoint as well. You want to be able to ensure you're getting the best value, right? You want to be able to ensure the home meets all of your needs, and then you also want to make sure that the financing vehicle is the best it can be. And so a couple different things that we're looking for as a mortgage broker is we're looking for, first of all, in a process this long, what are we looking at with the rate lock, right? We're in a very volatile period right now. And so having extended lock rate periods is something that we're looking at. Is the home going to take 8 months to complete? Well, do we want to be hanging out in the wind for 8 months as the Fed works on rates and inflation? Do we want to
lenders, are you doing more to extend those rate locks? Because I had a client earlier this year, and they were buying a new construction home. They signed with the builder late, about a year ago, so I think it was December of last year. They signed the contract, and then and they were pre-approved. They were their interest rate at the time was like 3.1.
Yeah, last year.
By the time they were able to lock in, because they were able to do a 60-day lock, and that was in April. And at that point, interest rates are up. I think they got like a 4.6. So it was up about 1.5 points, which now 4.6 looks amazing.
Nice.
But this person's monthly payment, their mortgage was going to go up about $400. They were a single person, and they weren't comfortable with that, and they actually ended up walking away from a lot of equity because immediately she was getting the house for the December price.
Wow,
and
it's huge.
The builder turned around and sold it for the June price and made another $30,000 or $40,000 on the house.
And that's unfortunate. We represent the buyer or that seller, and we want to make sure that the house that this person is walking into, that they clearly understand the financing that they're getting. And one way we can do that with a new construction home, is with an extended lock. We don't want to be gambling with anybody's future. And so whether it be 8 months, 6 months, 12 months, we're gonna pair and customize that to match with what they need. And then there's also a recast. Recast is, let's say if they're gonna sell after that they move into their new construction home and then sell their departure residence. That's a whole nother topic. We'll talk about first-time sellers. Stay tuned for the future.
Well, there's that one, and then there's also being able to buy a home before you sell your home.
Exactly.
That's another topic.
A whole other thing we can get into. But we can recast and really bring down the payment.
What does that mean, recast?
So that means that once you've moved into your future home, and Jimmy turns around and sells your departure residence, you now have this windfall of equity, this windfall of monies you've received from the sale of your home. The mortgage is paid off, you've got your money, old home is gone, and now you can do what you want with that money. A lot of people that turn around and say, you know what, I want to put this on my new mortgage to bring down my mortgage. Well, it's not a refinance, it's just a recast. We're going to take that money, place it on this house. It drops the principal, obviously, because now we've put a lot down.
Yeah.
And we can recast the mortgage, recast the payment, so the payment drops as well.
Okay.
And the term changes as well as a result of that to bring it down.
Okay.
So recasting is another important piece of the puzzle.
So if you're coming in with a 30-year mortgage and then you've paid off your home and you're putting down 10 years worth of payments, then now you have a 20-year mortgage?
Not necessarily. So that's prepaying your mortgage. So you wouldn't change your payment. That's another thing. And A-okay, if you want to pay down your mortgage faster, by all means, I want you to be debt-free, if that's your goal. But the recast, what that's doing is it's taking the windfall funds, and then you can then pay down the principal and re-amortize the mortgage over 30 years and bring down your payment as a result as well.
Gotcha.
So it's a pretty powerful tool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're about to wrap up on the show.
Dang, already?
Our first episode, talking all about new construction. So if you guys want more information, our goal is always to bring you value, bring you information, and then we just want to start the conversation.
Yeah.
Really, this is a conversation between two guys, sitting in front of a fireplace. Yeah. But we wanted to put it out there in case if you have questions that you'll reach out to us and we can continue the conversation one-on-one with you. So Michael, how can someone get in touch with you?
Yeah, so again, like I said earlier, Michael Curtis, I'm a mortgage broker with Movement Bank, and you can reach me at 803-389-5256. I know we're almost out of time. I do want to say this. We love real estate. We love what we do, and that's what I just want to share with Jimmy as well. Absolutely, any questions you got, let us know. Jimmy, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so 704-313-8514. You can go to my website, jimmygrapponerealtor.com. Emails jimmygrapponerealtor@gmail.com, and we'll throw all the information on the screen too. So thanks so much for listening and watching. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care.